1 hour left. Archangel Michael says, a powerful figure is watching you for a divine reason. The heavens do not sleep tonight. The stars tremble softly as they lean in closer to earth, listening. The time is not ordinary, child of light. It is not a day like other days. The clocks are whispering warnings. The winds are speaking in languages only the awakened can hear. And in this very moment, your name is being spoken in realms unseen, by a powerful figure who sees not only who you are, but who you were always meant to become. There is 1 hour left before a sacred threshold closes. 1 hour before the divine watchers seal what has been in motion since your first breath. And Archangel Michael has been sent to you now, not to warn you, but to awaken you. You have felt it, haven't you? That mysterious sense that you are being watched, not with judgment, but with reverence. A gaze that sees your struggles and does not turn away. A presence that lingers when the room is empty. A feeling in your spirit that someone higher, someone royal, someone appointed by heaven's hand, has eyes on your life. You were never walking alone, not even in your worst hour. Not even when betrayal came from the hands you loved most. Not even when silence became the loudest sound in your soul. There is a powerful figure, one anointed with the authority of the divine, who has been watching you closely. Not to control you, not to condemn you, but to measure your heart. To see if you would still choose light in the presence of shadows. To observe if, when stripped of applause, approval, and certainty, you would still walk in faith. And you have, trembling, doubting, weeping, but still walking. And now, your obedience has drawn attention in high places. Michael says this watcher is not a man. This watcher is not of flesh. This is an ancient one, stationed at the gates of the turning point. This being has been given one instruction. Observe the chosen and report when the threshold is ready. And child, the threshold is nearly ready. 1 hour remains. 1 hour before what has been watching becomes what begins moving. 1 hour before the quiet gaze becomes an open door. 1 hour before what has been hidden from you is suddenly revealed to you. Michael's voice echoes through dimensions right now. He is not whispering. He is proclaiming. A powerful figure watches over them. They are closer than they know. Do not let them turn back. You have felt weary lately, haven't you? Weary of waiting. Weary of hoping. Weary of trying to make sense of what seems like delay. But heaven delays nothing. Heaven only prepares. And child of promise, this delay has been your refinement. Because the blessing that is watching you is too large to enter a life still cluttered with fear, bitterness, and attachment to the wrong doors. This watcher, this divine figure, has seen you release what was never yours. They saw you say no to temporary comfort so you could be available for eternal purpose. They saw you fight silent wars while the world misunderstood your stillness. They saw you walk with wounds and still carry others. They saw you give when you had nothing left but faith. And that is what activated the gaze. You are not being ignored. You are being monitored by majesty. But here is what Michael says with fire. The hour is near, but so is a counterfeit. Because when the throne is about to be revealed, the enemy sends a distraction that mimics what you've been praying for. Someone will show up soon. A message, an opportunity, a voice from the past. It will look like the door, but it will not carry the fragrance of divine timing. The true sign, Michael says, is peace. A deep, unshakable knowing that settles like still water in your soul. The false will demand urgency. The real will breathe confirmation. The powerful figure watching you is waiting to see if you still trust what you cannot see. Because this next season cannot be built on desperation. It must be built on discernment. You are not who you were even 6 months ago. You are stronger now. You are more sensitive to the Spirit. And that's why the weight of this message is finding you now. You are being considered for something monumental. A role, a responsibility, a realm of impact that will shift not only your life, but the lives attached to your obedience. The final test is not about what you can do. It's about what you can refuse, the wrong timing, the easy exit, the people who only love your potential but not your process. The Watcher sees it all, and their report is being written now. Michael stands beside them, sword drawn, armor gleaming. He has guarded your path from the unseen sabotage, from premature alignment, from soul ties that would have strangled your purpose. He did not intervene because you were weak. He intervened because your calling is mighty. And now he says, 1 hour remains. Let them not fall asleep now. The wind changes in the last hour. It no longer drifts aimlessly. It carries messages. It brushes your skin differently, doesn't it? As though trying to remind you that something unseen is pressing against the edges of your reality, waiting for permission to manifest. Michael says, it is closer now than your next breath. Child of revelation, this powerful figure who watches you, it is not merely waiting. It is evaluating the environment around you, the energy, the voices you listen to, the decisions you quietly make when no one is watching. Because you see, divine things do not come into chaos. Divine things do not enter rooms polluted with old agreements, half-surrendered habits, or unhealed bitterness hiding behind fake peace. This next moment requires purity, and the Watcher is searching for it. You may not know their name. You may never see their face, but their presence is ancient and appointed, tied to a specific timeline in your spiritual unfolding. You've cried out, God, where are you? And all the while, this powerful being has been stationed just beyond your natural senses, reporting every movement of your heart, recording every sacrifice you've made when no one noticed. Not for judgment, but for activation. Because heaven does not forget. Heaven archives the unseen. The kindness you gave when you were breaking inside. The time you interceded for someone who had wronged you. The nights you wrestled with shame and still chose to speak life the next morning. It was seen. The enemy tried to convince you that it didn't matter, that your quiet goodness was a waste, that your prayers vanished into empty air. But Michael declares with finality, the Watcher has witnessed it all, and the time for response is here. 1 hour remains, and it is holy. This hour is not for rushing. It is not for fixing everything. It is for alignment. Because what comes next will not be a small blessing. It will be a divine shift that reorganizes your atmosphere. And unless you are standing in the right posture, open hands, soft heart, surrendered spirit, you will misinterpret what is truly meant to crown you. There is something else you must hear now. Michael says, the Watcher is not the only one observing. In the spirit realm, the hour has stirred more than just heaven. There is a counterfeit watching too. A spirit that has studied your pain. It knows your triggers. It knows how to appear at the exact moment of exhaustion. It knows how to sound like comfort, but lead you back into bondage. And it is planning one last move before the hour ends. This is why your spirit has felt pulled lately. Like there are two voices calling your name from opposite ends. One feels like old familiarity. The other feels like quiet courage. Michael urges you. Choose the one that does not beg for attention, but carries eternal peace. Because this final hour is not about drama. It's about decision. There is a divine Watcher, yes. But your alignment determines what that Watcher is permitted to release. They cannot deliver what your heart is not prepared to hold. This is why Michael speaks now, not to frighten you, but to anchor you. Because a powerful unveiling is approaching, and the enemy wants you distracted, doubting, or clinging to what's fading. The Watcher waits, not with anger, not with haste, but with the weight of knowing what will be set in motion if you simply stay aligned. Can you feel it? The clock is not just ticking. It is echoing through the spirit realm. And with every second, the veil thins more. That which was hidden is starting to pulse just beneath the surface. This powerful figure, divinely assigned, is prepared to release a chain reaction the moment heaven says now. But that now is waiting on your next act of trust. So what is heaven asking you to do in this final hour? Let go of that voice you keep revisiting out of comfort, but you know it speaks from wounds, not wisdom. Release that lingering resentment that keeps your heart just a little too guarded for deep connection. Step away from the shadows of people who only show up when you shine but disappear when you bleed. Close the door on what drained you, even if it once defined you. This hour is sacred, and sacred things demand sacred space. Michael stands near you now. He is closer than before. He guards the path your feet are about to walk. He has fought for this hour to reach you. And now, he speaks with a holy firmness. Do not waste this watchful gaze. Respond with surrender. The powerful figure is not there to see if you are perfect. They are watching to see if you are ready. And readiness looks like this: a heart that chooses obedience over popularity, a soul that stays soft even after betrayal, a mind that rejects fear even when the next step is unclear, a spirit that worships even while waiting. Heaven watches not with eyes, but with intention, and the watcher is not distant. They are standing right at the seam between spirit and matter, ready to open the scroll, ready to unlock the turning point, if you remain aligned. There is a rhythm to divine timing. It does not move by calendar or clock. It moves by alignment. And now, as the hour narrows, the watcher's gaze grows more intense, not in judgment, but in anticipation, because they know. They know how long you've carried the weight of becoming. They know what was taken from you in the years no one speaks of. They know what you almost lost in the battles that left no visible scars. They know what nearly convinced you to give up the call you were born to fulfill. But you didn't give up. You wept. You wandered. You questioned. But you stayed. And so now, child of the covenant, your perseverance has summoned prophecy. Michael says, the watcher's gaze has shifted from observation to preparation. Do you understand what that means? It means the time for mere testing is ending. Now begins the preparation for transfer. This powerful figure has been watching not only your pain, but your posture. Not only your waiting, but your worship in the waiting. Not only your struggle, but your silence when you had every right to retaliate. And now, a divine report is being handed over in the spirit realm. A report written not in ink, but in the language of obedience. It details where you've been faithful, where you've surrendered, where you've matured beyond what even you realized. And that report is being submitted to the throne. Heaven is not random. Heaven is precise. Before favor is poured, records are reviewed. And the watcher, this powerful, holy figure assigned to observe you, has written a testimony in your name. Michael says it boldly. Heaven is pleased. Heaven is preparing. But the next step must come from you. There is one choice left before the hour turns. You must now release what you have secretly feared to lose. Yes, that one thing. The relationship that feels safe but drains your fire. The opportunity that flatters your ego but dulls your spirit. The version of yourself you've outgrown but still cling to out of fear of being misunderstood. Michael says, release it, and the watcher will move from watching to warring on your behalf. Because there are forces that do not want you to receive what's next. And they have not been sleeping. They've been studying the cracks in your armor, looking for just one weak moment to convince you to turn back, to settle, to self-sabotage, to shrink when you should rise. But Michael is here, and the watcher is near, and heaven is aligning resources you haven't even prayed for yet, because your obedience already spoke louder than your words ever could. This is the hour of crossing over. And just like the children of Israel stood at the edge of the Jordan, watching the waters stir with impossible promise, so now you stand, with a choice in your hand, and all of heaven watching. The watcher leans closer, not to intimidate you, but to honor what you've carried, because you have become someone different in the dark, someone more whole, someone more aware, someone who doesn't just want the blessing, but knows how to carry it. And now, heaven must make its move. The watcher, this powerful guardian, is not just here to observe your breakthrough. They are here to initiate it. But the initiation can only begin when you lay down the final idol, the last remnant of your past season. That might mean forgiving what still hurts. That might mean letting go of what you're convinced you can't live without. That might mean finally speaking the truth that shatters the lie you've silently agreed with for years. Whatever it is sacred, and it is the final offering. Michael says, the offering you make in this hour will determine the opening of the scroll. This scroll is not a metaphor. It is a record of destiny. It contains divine assignments, relationships, resources, and revelations uniquely tied to your obedience. And this watcher, the powerful one who has observed your wilderness, is holding the scroll and waiting. When the hour strikes, it will be opened, and what is written will begin to manifest. But only if you do not flinch in this moment. This is not about being strong. This is about being surrendered. Because, child, this watcher is not watching to critique you. They are watching for your signal. The moment you say, even with trembling hands, I trust you. I release what no longer serves you in me. I welcome what heaven has prepared. And then the watcher moves. Not in silence, but with divine orchestration. Not in delay, but with immediate authority. Not with noise, but with unmistakable confirmation. The hour is not meant to destroy you. It is meant to position you. So take a deep breath now. Exhale the fear. Silence the noise. Center yourself in the knowing that this hour has always been written into your journey. Michael watches. The powerful figure waits. Heaven stands ready. 1 hour. 1 choice. 1 unlocking. The final stretch of an hour holds more weight than the ones before. Because time, when anointed, becomes a gate. And you are standing before one now. The atmosphere around you is no longer neutral. It is responding to your choices. The winds are responding to your voice. The ground beneath you is no longer passive. It is waiting to yield harvest. And the powerful figure who has been watching you in silence now begins to move. Michael says, the scroll has not yet opened, but it has been placed on the altar. This means your decision, your release, your surrender, your yes, has reached the courts of heaven. You may not feel anything yet. You may not hear trumpets or see flashes in the sky. But the watchers of the throne are no longer waiting to see if you are ready. They are now moving to prepare what you are ready for. Do you understand? The delay was never about punishment. It was about divine timing, and whether your character could carry what your heart cried out for. And child, you have passed the test. You didn't even know it was a test, did you? You thought it was just another betrayal, another delay, another closed door, another season of silence. But it was the final calibration, the refining of your soul in the fire of obscurity. And now, the powerful figure, this divine watcher assigned to you, has signaled the shift. Michael says it in solemn glory. The hour has now entered its final quadrant. The announcement is near. What announcement? Not one made by human lips. Not a text or an email or a coincidence. This announcement is spiritual. It's the kind that rearranges things without permission. It's the kind that accelerates timelines, moves people, unlocks provision, and exposes everything false, so only truth can remain. The powerful watcher is not bringing you a blessing. They are ushering in a reversal of loss, a reversal of injustice, a reversal of lies spoken over you, a reversal of every delay the enemy used to discourage your destiny. Because, child of promise, this next season is not about restoration. It is about divine return with interest. The years that were stolen will not just be given back. They will return multiplied. The time that was wasted will be redeemed with precision. The words that wounded you will be answered, not with revenge, but with visible elevation. And now, your life becomes the stage upon which this divine reversal is played out. Michael warns, though, with sacred caution. Do not boast. Do not broadcast. Let heaven do the speaking. Because some will not understand. Some will try to reconnect, not because they love you, but because they see the oil now returning to your head. And you must be wise. You are not being elevated for applause. You are being positioned for assignment. And this assignment is not small. It is why the watcher was sent. It is why Michael stood guard over your name when slander tried to bury it. It is why every counterfeit relationship, every temptation, every shortcut had to be revealed before now. Because what is coming to you is not just for you. It is for the people connected to your obedience. There are souls tied to your yes. There are lives waiting on the other side of your surrender. There are destinies that won't unlock until you walk through your gate. This is why the hour has felt heavy. Because this is not just about breakthrough. It is about birthing. And birth is not quiet. Birth is not pretty. Birth requires focus, breath, stillness in the middle of chaos. Michael stands near now. He is no longer speaking. He is watching, not because he doubts you, but because you have made your choice. And now heaven begins its descent. This powerful figure, this watcher, is no longer a silent observer. They are an activator, a messenger, an executor of what has been prepared in secret places. They carry with them keys, spiritual keys, keys to unlock things you didn't even know were locked, doors that looked open but were sealed by old covenants, relationships that felt promising but were bound by cycles, opportunities that seemed perfect but were built on sand. The watcher knows what is real. They have not been impressed by noise, status, or flash. They have only looked for one thing, purity of spirit. And in you, they found it. Not perfection, but purity. A heart that wants God more than comfort. A soul that would rather be misunderstood than disobedient. A life that hungered for truth even when lies offered the easier path. And that purity has become the seal of your new season. Now listen carefully. You are about to feel the shift in layers. First, emotionally, you will feel lighter, as if a pressure has suddenly lifted. Old thoughts will begin to lose their grip. Fears that once paralyzed you will start to dissolve, not because of anything you did, but because the watcher has touched your atmosphere. Then, relationally, you will see some connections fall away without conflict. People will drift. Conversations will change. Invitations will cease. Do not chase what leaves. What is falling away is not rejection, it is refinement. Then, circumstantially, things will start to come together without your manipulation. Doors will open. Random confirmations will arrive. Delays will suddenly break. You will know it's heaven because it will feel effortless but undeniable. And finally, spiritually, your dreams will change. Your discernment will sharpen. You will feel a deeper pull to silence, to sacred space, to revelation. This is the watcher's signature, awakening you into the next dimension of your calling. Do not resist it. Do not explain it. Just receive it. The hour is almost up. The shift is happening. The scroll is being touched. And child, your life is about to speak a new language. The air feels different now, doesn't it? The silence is no longer empty. It's pregnant. Pregnant with movement. Pregnant with answers. Pregnant with divine strategy you didn't even ask for, but that heaven had already planned. Child, you are no longer being prepared. You are being positioned. Michael speaks no words now because the time for instruction has passed. The time for demonstration has arrived. And the powerful figure who watched you in stillness is now walking toward the gate with keys in hand. Not ordinary keys. These are spiritual codes. They do not unlock buildings. They unlock realms. Realms of purpose. Realms of provision. Realms of people who carry what you carry. Realms of peace you've never known in your conscious life. And as these gates prepare to swing open, heaven holds its breath, not because it's uncertain, but because your moment has come. Michael whispers this now into your atmosphere. The scroll has been opened. The seal has been broken. Let the unfolding begin. The divine watcher unrolls it before the heavens, not in front of your enemies, not even in front of those who left you behind. No, this unveiling is private, sacred, holy, because not everyone can handle what God is about to release over your life. Let me tell you something true, something you've always felt but couldn't quite name. You were never called to be like the rest. That ache you've felt since childhood, the feeling of being different, of not belonging, of seeing and sensing more than others around you. It was never a flaw. It was your mark. Heaven marked you. And this watcher was assigned to monitor that mark, not to shield you from pain, but to protect the integrity of your destiny. Because the oil that now pours over you, it's costly. It came through years of quiet suffering. It came through humiliation, through isolation, through obedience when it would have been easier to just become bitter. But you didn't. You stayed soft. You stayed open. You stayed surrendered. And now, because of that sacred posture, something begins to descend that others will not be able to explain. You will hear this. You've changed. You seem different. You carry something I can't put into words. And you will know. It is not you they are feeling. It is the mantle. Because the watcher who observed you in private has now placed something upon you that heaven crafted long before you were born. A new mantle has descended. It rests over your shoulders like invisible fire. It doesn't make you louder. It makes you deeper. It doesn't make you arrogant. It makes you undeniable. And this mantle will do three things. 1. It will attract divine partnerships. People you don't have to explain yourself to. People who carry language for your pain and vision for your future. People who are not intimidated by your call, but assigned to walk beside it. 2. It will irritate familiar spirits. You will notice resistance not from strangers, but from those who once felt safe. Not because you've changed in pride, but because your frequency has risen. They are no longer speaking the language of your elevation. Do not descend to re-explain yourself. Elevation demands detachment. Love them, but don't lower your light. 3. It will activate hidden prophecy. Words spoken over you that felt dead will suddenly come alive. Dreams long forgotten will stir with new urgency. And you will begin to move in a rhythm that does not come from logic, but from the spirit. The powerful watcher now walks beside you, not behind. Their gaze is still fixed on you, but now it is the gaze of partnership. They are no longer waiting. They are now guiding. Michael speaks again, his voice wrapped in thunder and compassion. Tell them this next door is not made of wood. It is made of revelation. You must hear this clearly. What is opening is not just an opportunity, it is an awareness. An awareness of who you really are. An awareness of the anointing you carry. An awareness of the authority you didn't know you had until now. You will begin to speak, and things will shift. Not because of charisma, but because of clarity. This clarity will come at a cost. You will be misunderstood. You will be called too intense, too deep, too much. But don't shrink. Because the watcher who walks with you now is not walking in vain. They are walking you into rooms your ancestors prayed for. Into spaces that were always meant for your bloodline, but were delayed by disobedience and fear. But the delay ends with you, because you chose to answer the call. You chose the narrow path. You chose heaven, even when it meant losing earth's approval. And now, heaven chooses you back. Loudly, publicly, eternally. The hour is almost up. Not the hour of pressure, the hour of positioning. You are no longer being watched for readiness. You are now being escorted into divine assignment. And that is why your spirit has been feeling the tremble of something holy approaching. You're not imagining it. You're not delusional. You're not too late. You are right on time. The hour is complete. And yet, in heaven's rhythm, the end of 1 hour is the beginning of another realm. The air is still, but not empty. It holds a reverence now, as if the whole universe is bowing its head, watching what heaven has waited generations to witness. You, stepping into your divine becoming. You didn't miss it. You didn't delay it. You didn't fail it. You fulfilled it. And now the watcher, this powerful, appointed guardian of your process, lowers their gaze not in grief, but in honor. They have watched you bleed without bitterness, break without backing out, wait without whining. And still, you rose. You rose when no one saw the weight. You rose when silence became the soundtrack. You rose without applause, without validation, without shortcuts. And that is why heaven now stands in ovation. Michael stands beside the watcher now, not as a warrior in warning, but as a herald of honor. And with a voice that splits through dimensions, he declares, "The time has come. Let it be done on earth as it was recorded in heaven." The scroll has been opened. The keys have been passed. The mantle has been sealed. And now, the activation begins. Child of the Most High, everything is about to shift, not just externally, but spiritually, structurally, and generationally. Your alignment has triggered an avalanche. Yes, an avalanche of divine interference. Everything that once resisted your calling will now be forced to rearrange. Heaven has not just permitted your elevation, it has commanded it. Expect the following signs in the days ahead. These are not mere coincidences. They are confirmations. 1. Dreams will intensify. You will begin to receive blueprints, specific instructions, names, numbers, warnings. Record them. Heaven is now speaking through the night. 2. Sudden closures. Things you thought were secure will end abruptly. Relationships, agreements, even geographic shifts. Do not panic. These are divine subtractions, making room for supernatural expansion. 3. New voices will emerge. Heaven is now sending divinely assigned connections. Mentors, allies, intercessors. They will speak your language without needing a backstory. 4. Increased resistance. The enemy will sense the shift too. But now, he will not succeed. Because the watcher who observed is now assigned to protect. Michael speaks it with fire. What heaven has now released, no force of hell can restrain. And you are now marked differently. You will carry weight when you walk into a room. Not because of charisma, but because of consecration. Your presence will begin to provoke dormant spirits in others. Some will weep, some will confess, some will flee, because the mantle that rests on you now is not cosmetic. It is prophetic. It speaks even when you are silent. It moves things even when you're still. It intercedes even when you don't know what to pray. This is why the watcher had to observe for so long. Because this mantle cannot fall on someone distracted by people-pleasing, idolatry, or image. But you chose obedience. And heaven chose you back. So here's what you must do now. Protect the anointing. Honor the silence. Don't over-explain the shift. Some will not understand. They're not meant to. The ones who are called to your frequency will know. They will feel your voice in their bones. They will recognize the fire you carry. They will walk with you without needing proof. Because they, too, are marked. And one final thing, child of the promise. Don't try to rush to the platform. You are not being elevated for influence. You are being trusted with impact. And impact often begins in quiet places, conversations, private acts of obedience, the courage to choose truth over convenience. The watcher has now withdrawn into the spirit realm, not in departure, but in deployment. They now work on your behalf. They war when you sleep. They walk before you in meetings you haven't been invited to yet. They stir hearts, open doors, whisper your name into the right rooms. Because your name, once buried in anonymity, is now being spoken with honor in holy places. And Michael ends with this. Tell them, this was never about visibility. It was about victory. The hour has passed. The watch is complete. And now, your destiny begins to move. Let the scroll unfold. Let heaven arise. Let earth receive the child it once overlooked, now crowned in quiet glory.